Adolf Hitler had envisaged establishing by force a new order in Europe, which Germany would govern with an iron fist. Conceived as the natural successor to the Holy Roman Empire of 800 to 1806 and the German Empire of 1871 to 1918, the Third Reich would last 1,000 years, would leave imposing ruins to compare with those of ancient Rome, and would make either subjects or slaves of all the nations of Europe. Hitler believed himself to have been chosen by Providence to lead the revolutionary struggle against Bolshevism and to raise a defeated and humiliated nation from its knees and urge it on to glory. In speech after speech he repeated his assertion that he had been entrusted with a quasi-religious mission, that of ridding the continent of inferior races and of establishing the Germans and their Aryan brothers as the master race. No sacrifice would be too great to attain this end. No suffering would be too much to ask. And if the Untermenschen, or subhuman races, were eradicated in the process, then so be it. They were expendable. Alliances would be made and promises broken with impunity. The end would justify the means. The Übermenschen, superior men, would not be restrained by laws, morality, or religious dictates. National Socialism was the new religion, a pseudo-pagan cult with Hitler as its figurehead, Mein Kampf as its Bible, and the swastika supplanting the Christian cross. Once the tanks were rolling across Europe's borders, the Führer's enemies routed, their cities reduced to rubble, German troops would march in triumph through the streets, fulfilling their destiny. All would be humbled and bow before them. This was a despot's dream, the febrile vision of a megalomaniac. But few in Germany or in Hitler's native Austria could see the abyss to which he was leading them. As Chancellor, he had done so much in a short time to restore German pride. As for his threats to eradicate the Communists, the Jews, and the undesirables, this was surely only rhetoric to whip up support among those who blamed Germany's enemies for their defeat in 1918. These excesses would be curtailed in time, and moderation would prevail. The old enemy, France, and its allies, Britain and America, dreaded the thought of another war. They were weary after fighting the last one, which they had prayed would be the war to end wars, and were all too eager to secure peace at any price. Britain had its appeasers and America its isolationists, and at the time of the Munich crisis in September 1938, it seemed that their fear of another war might force them to come to an accommodation with Herr Hitler, who, in defiance of the Versailles Treaty, had rearmed Germany and seemed in unseemly haste to put its new weapons, air force, and highly disciplined troops to the test. Too few had read Mein Kampf, in which the former corporal in the Bavarian army made no secret of his plans to conquer Eastern Europe, enslave the Slavs, and implement the final solution to the problem posed by the Jews, the persistent, pernicious myth that they exercised undue influence in world affairs to the detriment of hard-working, God-fearing Aryans.